say you don't go after Tyler Boyd if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Say you trade Calvin Austin to the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for Brandon Ayuk. Do you eliminate yourself from draft talk for a wide receiver, or do you now look at it in a different light and say maybe they need a slot? Do you completely get rid of it and go after the cheapest slot option you could possibly find? How do you approach that? Because you're going to have a missing piece at that point. And if the Steelers aren't signing Tyler Boyd, where do you go from there?
Yeah, if you're out on Boyd, if Calvin Austin is getting traded for a Brandon Ayuk or whoever, I don't think you take yourself out of consideration to draft a guy.
Yep.
I still think there are some guys in this draft that can fill a slot position that I really like, and they wouldn't be first round talents or anything like that. They're guys that you can get in the second or probably much later. So I would feel very comfortable going that route. And you look at the free agent market now, and it's like Josh
It's bad.
Reynolds, and after that, like I don't really see a like I don't see a player who's an upgrade over an Allen Robinson
Yeah.
after like outside of Reynolds, quite honestly. So I feel like you go into the draft and you're looking at a much deeper pool of players that can be impact guys and can start right away. And for that reason, I wouldn't take wide receiver off of the board, but I think it does lower the urgency if you end up trading Calvin Austin for Brandon Ayuk or something like that. It takes some of the pressure off to like go first round with it and get a Brian Thomas or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that you lower it. I don't think you take it off the board. I still think it's one of your top draft picks. But I think again, it's like just like you said, like starts in the second round, depending on who's there. But chances are you're like a third, fourth round pick. This is a guy that's going to come in minimal prep. He's going to be another Calvin. He's your next Calvin Austin. That's who you're looking at. Is your next Calvin Austin, which hopefully turns into something big. Might not turn into something big, but I think you do remove that need pretty drastically from your draft board and then just figure that out, because you have tight ends and like you have Pat Freiermuth who could pretty much be a slot wide receiver. You have Connor Hayward who pretty much is a slot wide receiver. I don't know what Darnell Washington ever turns into when it comes to being a pass catching tight end, but you have those two and you could utilize them. You could utilize Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. Like, I don't know what Van Jefferson could do. Maybe you toss him in there. I just think that
Yeah.
there are options, when you could find a slot guy is important, but not
The
as
end all be
important
all.
as yeah, exactly. Like you could find an option there and you could find a rookie option there and you could feel pretty okay with it. But I would imagine if Ayuk's on the table and if Ayuk happens, I mean, at that point you're giving up your first round pick. So you
Yeah.
don't have it. So you gotta narrow your choices as it is. I think that's a possibility. This just popped in my head. Let me ask you this question. You think that there's a chance that the Pittsburgh Steelers they have 2 third-round picks, fourth-round pick, second-round pick, and first-round pick. They trade for Brandon Ayuk, get rid of the first-round pick, then use some of those other picks to move themselves back into the first round? Do you think there's a possibility there?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that would make a lot of sense, quite honestly. If you feel like, you know, if you feel like, Jackson Powers Johnson is a can't miss guy,
Yep.
then for sure, go ahead, move up. If you feel like trying to think of who
Kool-Aid
those other
McKinstry,
Yeah,
Zach
yeah.
Frazier.
Right. If you feel like you cannot afford to miss on one of those guys, and also that you can move up into a position to get one of those guys, like that's the one thing is you can't swing and miss when you do that.
No.
It's you have to know that you're getting your guy, and you have to know who your guy is. It's not just, oh well, whoever falls to us at this position. Like, no, you have to have a target and you have to know who it is. Luckily they have some options, like you said, Powers Johnson, Quinion Mitchell, Kool-Aid, guys like that. Like I'm perfectly comfortable because they've got like a bunch of draft picks. Like
Yeah.
it's not like they would be starved to select guys after that.
No, no. I think you can move bottom of the first, early second, get a guy that you consider a first round pick that you believe is going to start immediately. You remove yourself, you put yourself into a tighter hole, but I don't know. They haven't done anything on the defensive line, and I think there's a part of me that thinks they're pretty content on the defensive line. As crazy as that sounds,
Hmm.
maybe they're content with their offensive tackles, and they're feeling okay about that until next season. Who knows? Who knows what their plan is? But I think that is certainly a possibility. And the way that Omar Khan has operated this offseason, nothing would surprise me. So a year ago, that's a fairy tale. That does not, like you're like, okay, come on, stop just tossing stuff out there. This year, I think that's real. I think it could really happen.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and like we said, like the Steelers, I think are looking much more short term than anything else. Like,
Yes.
you know, I don't think they like last year was the build the depth draft. This year
Yep.
it's the let's put ourselves over the top draft. It's a different strategy, it's a different time, it's a different Steelers attitude, and I think they're approaching everything in a vastly different way. And this a trade up, if there's a chain reaction of trading for an Ayuk or whatever, but and then trading up, but that all kind of falls into the category of we're being super aggressive. We're looking for the best possible moves to put us over the top, and we're looking for difference makers, not just value. We're looking for guys to really raise our ceiling.